Okay, Lyndosha, we're going to find out who Lyndosha Jamison really is. So, Lyndosha, it's on you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lyndosha. It is so exciting to be here on tonight. As Sharon stated before, I am an attorney and I own my own law firm. I practice in healthcare law, and specifically I represent physicians as it relates to their risk management issues and also their contracts. And I am a recent YouTube vlogger. My newest venture is in basically giving women a lot of the information on how to develop personally. And so my YouTube vlog is at Lyndosha E, and we talk about everything from how to overcome fear and doubt to how do you manage money and dealing with all of the issues that can sometimes derail us as it relates to success. And everything is about living out your best life, and that's something that I am fighting for every day and something that I hope to develop over these next 10 years and encourage other women to do the same. And I'm super excited to be a part of the anthology.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Alston. Thank you, Dr. Sharon Porter, for having me on this wonderful interview today. I'm really excited. So I am the CEO and founder of ALSTNTEC, and I do career development. I also do career coaching. I do empowerment workshops, mentoring services, and I also support small businesses through consultation for the very smallest of businesses. And I also help them with promotion. And so I'm really excited to be here in this anthology to contribute. Part of my story being, though I worked in the information technology background for about 25 years and still doing so today, but just showing everyone how you can overcome a lot of challenges being in this field and sharing my excerpt tonight. So thank you so much for having me.
Good evening, everyone. I am Stephany DeBerry of Stephany Sells the DMV. I am a licensed realtor. I service clients with both selling their homes and buying homes in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. I currently have a few agent partners that I also work with. I am super excited to be a part of this anthology and to be on the interview this evening with the rest of you lovely ladies. Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. And so I'm going to start with Lyndosha, who loves to be called Dot. And I think I'll call you Dot. That's a little easier for me. So you are an attorney, and I just absolutely love it because one of the things that I was looking for is a variety of backgrounds, a variety of women who had different industries and careers and entrepreneurs. And I was actually looking for an attorney. And I know you remember the day that I found out you were. I was like, oh my goodness, you've got to be in this book. So Dot, I want you to share with everyone your journey to, first of all, become an attorney and then owning your own law firm. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Well, I definitely come from a background that I don't have any lawyers really in my family or in my circle. I actually told my mom when I was 3 years old that I wanted to be an attorney. And it really came from an addiction to the television show Matlock. And so being addicted to Matlock, I never really knew what he did. And I remember asking my mom, like, what does Matlock do? And she was just like, he's a lawyer. And I'm like, hey, I want to be a lawyer when I grow up, which is crazy, but the dream just never left me. And throughout my time in high school and definitely in college, I had an affinity for everything from social studies and geography. I attended Spelman, and so I majored in political science pre-law and just continuously fell in love with everything dealing with the law. Of course, after Spelman, I went straight into law school, and that was a lot of years of reading and studying. And after law school, I worked as a trial attorney for 3 years with Fulton County. It was one of the most dynamic times of my life, but it was also one of the most trying times because being a trial attorney, you're always in court. It's very demanding, but I absolutely loved it. I love serving my clients, and I knew I always wanted to own my own businesses. And my first attempt at entrepreneurship was when I was 18 years old, and then I attempted again at 25, but it didn't stick until a few years ago when I was just like, okay, I learned from my first two ventures, which did not necessarily succeed in the way that I thought they would, but I learned so many lessons that have prepared me for where I am now, in both being the owner of my own law firm, and I also am a partner in a joint venture that deals with solely risk management issues for doctors. I do practice that area as an attorney also, along with physicians in their contracts. But the risk management portion is a joint venture, and now I'm starting the Lyndosha personal development brand. And so this month I'm making a lot of announcements as it relates to that, and just helping and encouraging women as it relates to the total aspect of success. I know for me, being a lawyer has been a lifelong passion, and I just have an affinity for justice and making sure that people's rights and their individual responsibilities and issues are cared for. And so attorneys are the people who do that in a court of law, and we also we protect, and that's a real big passion of mine.
Wow, that's really amazing. And one thing that I did not fail is to say where you are, and I guess I'll do that as I talk to each of you. But you're in the Atlanta area, and you've been there for quite a while, originally from South Carolina. And so when you find yourself really talking to young ladies, because the premise of this book, when I had the vision, was to have something for younger ladies that's coming up behind us to have something to hold on to. Because one of the things that I heard as a youngster is that you can do anything you wanted to do and be anything you wanted to be. But I didn't really take that to heart. And I look back now, and I'm just so passionate about trying to let the young ladies, elementary, middle, high school, even college, to let them know you can do anything you put your mind to do, because I heard it, but I didn't internalize it then. And so giving that, what would you say to those younger individuals? I'm doing a book called Class of 2017, and we have 2 people that's in school with the intentions of going to law school after that. So what would you say to someone like that?
I would definitely say never let anyone talk you out of your dreams. I personally had many obstacles that I had to overcome in order to be where I am today. And there was a lack of financial resources. I was born to a single parent home. My mother was a single parent my entire life. And so there were many times where it was a community effort to get Dot where she is today. So for me, never let anyone talk you out of your dreams, because you never know where your help and your support is going to come from. But if I had given up on what I wanted, when I had my house burned down in 2005 on Christmas Day, it was my first semester at Spelman. I was home for Christmas break, and I didn't have anything to go back to school with except for the clothes on my back. But I had a whole community back in Anderson, South Carolina that came along and allowed me to be where I am. There were many times where it was like scholarships that had to come through. I had to write my butt off. And I had to read a lot. So I think one of the most important things is when you're investing in your own dream, people see that and they support it. And I have not gotten to where I am by myself. And I haven't gotten there by keeping my mouth shut when I really needed help. So I would say to young girls 3 things. 1, never give up on your own dreams. 2, it takes a community and it takes support. And 3, open up your mouth to let people know that you need help, and help will definitely find you. So
thank you so much. And viewers out there, if you have questions for any of the contributing authors, please put your questions in the comments, and we will do a Q&A at the end. So thank you, Lyndosha, for that, and we'll come back to you. And so now, Ann, I'm coming to you. You are the founder of ALSTNTEC. You are a paralelpreneur. You are in the technology industry, IT. And so tell us a little bit about your transition from your 9-to-5, which you're still in, and now you really founding ALSTNTEC. And actually, you didn't even mention about your venture into the nonprofit. So talk a little bit about that.
Yes. So basically, I started off way back when, just really getting to be in the career world as early as 14 years old. I grew up, my father had passed away. My mom was trying to raise us along with our grandparents. And just like Dot said, it was like a community of family members who was trying to help raise me, my sister, my brother, and some other relatives. And early on, even at the age of 14, I knew the value of just getting out there and having an education. When I was going to school back in those days, if anybody can relate to my generation, there wasn't a, every child is not left behind in school. And so there wasn't a lot of care when it came to education back then. And I kind of fought my way through trying to get that education. At the age of 14, I got a summer job working in an office, just doing some type of janitorial work, but they put me in an office for about a day or two. And I actually loved it. I loved being behind the computer, whatever little computer there was back then, and decided that I wanted to do executive administration type work. That was actually the field to get in at that time, either that or be a legal secretary. And so when I came out of high school, I just immediately went right into a business college. And from there, I was introduced to other forms of technology. And that just sparked my interest from there. And so for each position that I had, I literally sat there and taught myself how to use the different applications, how to troubleshoot the applications, learn how they work and intertwine with each other so I can get what I want on that screen. And because I was able to do that, I was able to maneuver myself in different positions that afforded me the opportunity to continue my computer skills and growth and things of that nature. And then I just decided to take the leap of faith and start to jump into a help desk role. Once I was able to do that and knowing what I knew about the corporate world, I knew how to be able to transition from one position to another position, just leveraging the skills that I had, not only as an administrator, but also an IT profession, and knowing where the trends were when it came to technology. Along the way, the career coaching aspect pretty much came into just other people's inquiries about how I was able to do what I was doing. And being one of the few women in this field was already difficult. And then being one of the few or maybe only African-American woman in an office, and in technology on top of that, it was very hard for me to be able to, foresee what was going on. And so I kind of leveraged what I knew as my knowledge and my technology and leveraged that demand that was there, and was able to just take that technology and move from help desk to land administrator to system admin to IT management, and then finally a system engineer. And along the way, I found it very interesting that people who I've taught along the way for the career of technology kind of just stuck with me. It was like a glue. It just stuck with me on teaching people, and knowing how to prepare was a major key on how you can actually just write your own ticket to whatever position that you wanted. And I wanted to share that with all of our community and my kids and things like that. And the more I got into it, the more I saw that there is a need for us to be able to write our own ticket to whatever it is we wanted to do. And that's pretty much how I kind of transitioned from what I was doing as a secretary all the way up to engineering and then ALSTNTEC. And I really just love what I do. And I wouldn't, change it for anything in the world. And then as far as, our little venture, which I am so excited, and I've been holding on to this, Dr. Sharon, because, we're still developing it. But we started a nonprofit with Dr. Sharon Porter also being on the board of this. It's called Destination Achievers. And the tagline for that is achieving goals through outreach, which we're going to be taking a lot of the career and business outreach programs along with homelessness, domestic violence, and all those types of things that is so desperately needed for the community. And we're really going to be taking a really serious look on how we can make some real differences in the Maryland community. So I'm really excited about that and looking forward to doing more stuff as I do now.
Awesome. I tell you, and viewers, and you see why these are women who lead, just doing phenomenal things. And I tell you. And so now I'm going to move to Stephany DeBerry, who is your rock star realtor in the Washington, D.C. area. And honey, she has had some clients, I tell you, and I'm going to let her tell us all about it. Stephany, let's hear from you. Who are you and what do you do?
Again, thank you, Dr. Sharon Porter, for inviting me on and to participate in the Women Who Lead Anthology. I'm Stephany DeBerry. Originally, I am from upstate New York. So I moved to the DC area about 27 years ago to attend Howard University, where I was a chemistry major. I always knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. When I was a young child, I fell in love with the column in Ebony magazine, People to Know. I don't know if anyone remembers that column, but it featured CEOs and prominent business leaders. And I always knew, even though I grew up in a working class family, that I would be a business owner. And actually my first business was called Student Services LLC, where I worked with young people, helping them transition from high school to college. I had spent many years in different nonprofits while I was at Howard University and even prior to with the Urban League. So I'd done some work working with students, did college tours to help our young people familiarize themselves with HBCUs outside of the DC area. And then from there, I got into sales and marketing, really enjoyed it, never considered myself a salesperson. And from that, I eventually got into real estate. I enjoy real estate because it gives me an opportunity to help people that look like each one of us own the American dream. Sometimes we take that for granted. If you're a homeowner, you take that for granted because you have one. There are so many people that are still in need of homes, that have actually lost homes, such as myself. My family, we had lost our home. So I can work with people and help them rebuild as well. So I'm just excited about the opportunity that I get to work with people on a daily basis to help them live a dream that they have, not just for themselves, because homes are a way to create wealth, right? So when we create wealth, we are also creating a legacy for our children and our children's children. And it's so important that we think along those terms as women of color, as women who lead, to invest in home ownership if we can, and also encourage our other family members and colleagues to do the same. So while I help people buy and sell, I also teach home ownership education, also credit restoration. We all know credit is a big deal. And sometimes when we get hit, we don't know how to recover. So that's a huge part of what I do as well. We don't charge thousands of dollars to get people back to where they need to be. So I'm just excited because what I do impacts people on a daily basis, impacts their family members on a daily basis. And it's rewarding. It's rewarding to see people actually sit at the settlement table for what they worked so hard for to finally get. And then also if people have to come out of their homes, to help them do that with dignity and help them rebuild is just as important.
Wow, that's really awesome. And I know a few days ago, you brought to my attention the Hometown Heroes. That's for really different, various groups of people. Can you talk just a little bit about that?
Yes, so Hometown Heroes is an awesome program that I actually just became aware of within the last year. And I'm one of the only agents in the Maryland area that currently offers the program with the lender. So Hometown Heroes focuses on folks that help the community, right? So we work with government employees, government contractors as well. We work with law enforcement. We work with medical professionals, not just the doctors, not just physicians and higher ranking officials, anyone in the hospitals, right? With education professionals, not just the teachers, the administrators, and the principal, but what about the cafeteria worker? What about the custodians, right? They need to own homes too. So what we do is we help them, one, if they need credit assistance, also two, when they're ready to purchase, I actually give a portion of my commission back as a credit to them. So a lot of times that will either help them settle on their home or they'll be able to get a refund and walk away from owning a home with cash in their pocket. The lender that I partner with also gives them a credit as well. So basically, we try to help folks that are invested in the community to become homeowners and build up the communities in which they serve.
I think that's absolutely awesome. And so the fact that, you know, it really reaches so many different people that serves the community, I think is the best part about it. So awesome. Okay, so we're going to shift now a little bit about the chapters and your stories. And so one of the things that we've been doing for the last few weeks that we've had these Meet the Author interviews is tell about, first of all, your chapter, if you have finalized that chapter, because we know we have a few days to do all the final work to the chapters, and then just give an overarching theme of what that chapter is going to be. And Dot, we're going to start with you. We're going to go to Ann, and then Stephany, if you would pick up after Ann.
Sure.
So absolutely. My chapter is entitled How to Win in Life as a Woman. And this topic is something that is super important to my heart. When I look at the state of women as a whole, we very often are the backbones to our families, to our communities, and even to people that we don't know. And behind closed doors, a lot of times we are facing whatever issues and challenges that we have. And there are not a lot of voices that give us instructions on, you know what, not how to just bear with, not how to just endure the circumstances and situations that we find ourselves in, but how do I actually win at life? How do I actually operate from a place of victory and move forward? And so my YouTube page is definitely a lot about this too. It's about how to live out your best life, which is another way of saying, hey, how do you win? And in my chapter, I think that the overarching theme is to focus a lot on your strengths. I know as a woman, I was given instructions on pursuing my interests and how to interact with very important relationships that you find as a woman. How do you handle yourself? How do you navigate tough circumstances in a way whereby you can continue to retain the respect of the individuals that you're interacting with, as opposed to just getting attention? And a lot of women, unfortunately, our radios and our TVs tell us, hey, do a lot of stuff for attention. And especially if you're a millennial like me and you're tuning in, social media pushes a lot of the exterior portions. And my chapter focuses a lot on the top 3 things that you should do in order to win internally, on those things that you really can't see from the outside. And yes, you may be pretty and like to dress. I'm definitely a very feminine woman, but there are things such as character. There are things such as having tenacity and grit. There are things that are so important towards, being able to get back up over and over again after you're hit several different times, and winning at life. And I think that the ultimate win as a woman is when you know who you are and you live from that very authentic place. And so I'll touch on a number of those issues in my chapter, and I still have a few edits to do, but overarchingly, I would say it's just about how to win. And in a quick point, the thing that I've learned for myself is when I focus on operating in my strengths, I hardly ever lose, and I don't think that's something that we drive a lot in terms of a point that we drive a lot in terms of women. We're trying to be any and everything. We're trying to be superwoman. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to be superwoman, but I am going to be great at these 2 things or these 3 things. And I'm going to really hone in on my skills. And I'm going to surround myself with a team of people who are good at the things that I'm not good at. So that's just a blurb about my chapter.
Awesome. Okay. So my chapter is called The Unseen Light, and the whole theme of my chapter is really trying to identify what the most basic thing that people go through all the time in the workplace is feeling though you have nowhere to turn, that you have no one to talk to, that you literally in a box with no light and just waltz. And the reason why I chose that part of my book, and it's actually an excerpt from another book that I'm currently writing called It Doesn't Have to Be This Way, because really in a nutshell, you have a choice. You have a choice in every little single thing that you do. And regardless of what is going on in your life, just remember you always have the choice to choose the positive versus the negative. A lot of us are sitting at our jobs right now feeling like in a box with no light. And so through my eyes in this particular excerpt, I'm really just sharing what my struggles were, being who I was in the environment for which I worked and the people who I worked for. However, what you're also going to see in my chapter is how I persevered and how I did not allow that attitude and that behavior to keep me held down to what I wanted to do. It's that strength that you got to find even if you're in the dark. What is that strength that you have that you can pull out? And that's your light. And so when you get to the end of my chapter and you see that I actually had this light the whole entire time, it's almost like a Wizard of Oz, Dorothy, like she didn't even know she had the ruby slippers to go home. I had the light the entire time. And that's really what my excerpt is about, is find that inner light that is going to propel you forward in your future. So regardless of how dark your situation is, that strength is always in you and you have a choice to bring it out. And so I chose that because many of us are sitting at our workplace right now wishing that we can follow our passion. But your passion is always there. You just have to choose when to do it or when you want to do it or if you want to do it. That's really a choice and that's your light. So I'm hoping that people who read this chapter will want to also read the rest of my autobiography, which is It Doesn't Have to Be This Way, because no matter what's going on in your life, you can empower yourself to do more than what you are and be great and do great things.
Awesome. Well, I can tell you that my chapter is entitled Get Ready, and it focuses on the breakdown that led to my breakthrough. And like the other ladies have said, my chapter is basically the process of what I went through to get to my breakthrough. Ready is actually an acronym, but you have to read the book to figure out what the acronym is and the steps that I have taken to get to this point where I am today. And one of those steps is something that the other lady mentioned, is that I had to do an assessment. I had to go back and figure out what gifts, talent, skill set that I still possessed, even though I lost some things along the way. And many of us have. For me, it was a business. For other people, it may be a marriage or a family member. Whatever we feel we cannot get over, we can. But it is a process. It takes time. And so that is what my chapter focuses on: overcoming that obstacle, realizing what you lost, going through the process and saying yes to what's next. And sometimes our what is next is so much brighter, so much bigger than what we thought we actually lost. So God is a God of restoration. His plans are so much bigger than what we could ever think or fathom. And sometimes we get caught up in our plan and what we thought. And if we sit back and allow him to orchestrate our steps, you can't even believe what's yet to come. So I'm excited to share my personal testimony, what I went through, and how I bounced back. And sometimes that's reinventing yourself.
Just awesome. I tell you, and just the teasers, I'm like, oh my goodness. And the one good thing is no one will see each other's work until the finished product. And so you guys will just be amazed of the stories and actually and how they all come together. That's the real beauty of the collaborations. And so I'm so excited. This book is going to be launched January 2018, and I just cannot be more excited. So we have a few more minutes, and we did have a question. So while I prepare to read those, I just want each of you to tell me, why are you a woman who lead? And that question is very close to me, because one of your contributing authors who we interviewed early on, she made a point that I was like, wow. She said, I hesitated because I didn't feel like I was a leader. And that really took me aback, because I guarantee you there are people out there who feel like I'm not a leader. They're not talking to me. So I want you to tell why you are a leader and all the things that you feel that will resonate with just your everyday person, because that's one of the things that I wanted to make sure I had in this book was your everyday person you're extraordinary. And I was going to subtitle it Ordinary Women Doing Extraordinary Things. And I thought about that. I said, no, we are extraordinary. We are extraordinary. So in your way, Dot, Anne and Stephany, please say why you feel you are a woman who leads.
Wow. Well, I think that is a really great question. And I believe I'm a woman who leads. And it really starts with the characteristic of humility. I have there's no leader or no person that you can look at and probably receive some inspiration from that is not very grounded. Leadership requires a lot of sacrifice, and the deeper you get into whatever group or whatever entity that you're leading, the more you actually have to release of yourself. Like, even in this moment right now, I am at such a pivotal point. I think I have at least 6 or 7 projects that I'm juggling, and teams and people that I'm hiring. And I was talking to one of my best friends, and I was just like, girl, I'm hiring people. And those types of experiences humble you, because when you are at a place where you're exchanging dollars for someone's service, you're feeding their children. You are putting a roof over their children's heads, and you start to recognize that everything that you're doing, it's so much bigger than you. Yes, it started as a seed inside of you, but it takes a lot of humility to stop and realize there are so many people that have invested in this particular dream, and being able to be grounded and finish the task at hand and see things through and humble enough to do whatever it is you've been called to do is extremely important. And I think for me, that's probably one of the biggest lessons I'm learning in my leadership right now.
Wow, that's fantastic. You actually used one of the words that I was going to use, and that is being humble. Honestly, I'm sort of like Dr. Sharon. I never really consider myself to be a leader. However, I always strive to be a good example. And I find that people take more to being a good example, of you being an example, than someone looking at a leader. But when you look at the big scheme of things in terms of leadership, it is about characteristics. It is about showing someone how you can turn a bad situation into a good situation and guide them into whatever it is that they are really striving to do. I would say that if I am a leader, which I should be saying that right now that I'm a leader, I would just say that I just love to lead people to greatness, lead them to their prosperity and their power, and letting them know that you can be and do whatever it is you set out to do if you just kind of just embrace that empowerness and that woman in you and that drive and all those type of things that just oozes out of me every single time. So for me, I like to lead by example, and be an example. I also help people lead others, and that's how I consider myself to be a leader.
Wow. Just like the other ladies mentioned, I'm not sure if I really considered myself to be a leader. I know when I got this invitation, I was pleasantly surprised, and I read some of the bios from the other women, and I'm like, oh my goodness, God, I'm considered in this anthology, but he says your gifts will make room for you. So I am just excited about it. But when it comes to being a leader, I would say one of the main characteristics, humility, is definitely important, as the other 2 ladies have mentioned. But also for me, I'm very transparent. And I think that's so important when you're working with other people. The fact that they can see and that you are able to share with them truth. You are able to be relatable. People can understand your experiences. That has helped me tremendously in working with other people. Sometimes people see you for more than what you believe that you are, and then when they understand, oh, she's just like me, or oh, she had some issues, just like, it makes it so much easier. So I would say transparency is huge for me. I kind of am what you see, and I believe that's what it takes to be a leader. Also, being able to take risks. I am a risk taker when it comes to business. I think that's so important. I believe in what I'm doing, and I'm going to jump out there on faith and do it. And I realize people are watching. People will follow suit. I love to give back. I love to inspire other people to live out their purpose. And so I think that is really what makes me a leader, is the fact that I'm always looking out for those that are trying to do more with their lives as well. So I'm always giving back.
Awesome. I love it. And guys, we are nearing the end of our interview, but before we go, you must let the viewers know how they can follow you, how they can contact you, how they can be with you, because what I definitely want those individuals that are touched by your story, there are women that saying, oh my God, she's talking to me. I want you to attach yourselves to these ladies. And when we launch this book, we're going to be doing a pre-launch campaign. Order your book from these individuals. So I'm going to start again. I'm going to say Dot, Ann, and Stephany. If you would please give all of your contact information, how they can follow and contact you.
Absolutely. So you guys can actually, if you're looking to email me, you can email me at my law firm. It's L.E. Jamison, Jamison, at thejamisonlawfirm.com. Or you can follow me on YouTube, which is my new channel, and it's at Lyndosha E as in egg. And so I believe you guys can see the spelling of my name. And if not, it'll definitely be on the Anthology's Facebook page. And if you're my friend on Facebook, hey guys, and Lyndosha Jamison on Facebook, friend me.
Awesome. Well, everybody can find me at ALSTNTEC.com, which is ALSTNTEC.com. You can also find me on Facebook here under Ann Alston or ALSTNTEC. You can also find me on LinkedIn under Ann Alston, and you can also find me on Twitter. And if you are a friend of mine, please tag people to watch this playback, to watch all the playbacks of the anthology. I think this is utterly amazing. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about your career or your business, or you just want to just get some mentoring advice. Whatever it is that you need, I'm here to help you.
Okay, Stephany DeBerry of Stephany Sells the DMV. That's my Facebook page, Stephany Sells the DMV. I also have a personal page, Stephany DeBerry. You can find me on LinkedIn as well, Stephany DeBerry, and on Instagram, Steph Sells DMV. Also, my email address is my name, Stephany.DeBerry at EXP, E as in egg, X as in X-ray, P as in Paul, realty.com. And if you have any real estate related questions or questions regarding small business, I also lead a small business networking group right now in Loudoun County in the DMV area. We are growing. Please get in touch with me. We love to support small business owners. And for all my friends and family watching, share this video so we can get the word out about the Women Who Lead Anthology.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. It has indeed been a pleasure to have each of you learning more and more about you as we go on this journey. I so appreciate you for signing on with this and seeing it to the end. Viewers, you can follow Women Who Lead. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, and of course, we're on Facebook at WWL Anthology. That's WWL Anthology, and our website is womenwholeadanthology.com. Sign up, give us your email address so you can keep up with any updates that we have. And so I really appreciate everyone taking the time out on this evening to just meet the authors. We've been doing this now for 3 or 4 weeks, and we have probably 1 or 2 more weeks to go. And so I just want to say thank you. So please follow us on social media and look out for next week's interview. So Lyndosha, Ann, and Stephany, thank you so much. You all have a wonderful evening. And remember, guys, we are Women Who Lead. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.